Welcome to The Future is Bright, the Nevada Women's Fund podcast, where we shine a light on the transformative impact of women across Northern Nevada. Join us as we dive into inspiring stories of meaningful conversations and critical issues that highlight the limitless potential of women as drivers of positive change.
Growing up with a curiosity for science and a relentless pursuit of understanding the natural world, Chloe embarked on a transformative journey in summer 2019 to study tropical ecology and indigenous groups in Ecuador. Today, she's pursuing a PhD in ecology, evolution, and conservation biology at the University of Nevada, Reno, who aims to leverage her current studies to become a tribal relations specialist with the United States Forest Service. Stacy is a dynamic strategic communications, PR, and marketing professional, as well as a certified change management practitioner. She has a strong presence in Nevada and California, engaging with diverse communities. Stacy is an advocate for science and the arts, fostering innovation and community investment. Known for her collaborative approach, she sparks fresh ideas, supports change, and cultivates new partnerships. I just want us to be connected, and if you don't mind, we'll just hold hands and we'll just
they're cold,
connect, and it's okay because this is just so special. It's okay.
Okay.
Oh, it's cold. See what
You're alive. That's what that nervous is telling you. So it's good. Let's take a big, deep breath and let it out with a sigh. This is so exciting. I might cry.
I know. I love it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Welcome to Nevada Women's Fund. Mm-hmm. Never know.
Let's have some fun. It's going to be fun. Thank you. I am honored to be here. It is a momentous occasion.
It is.
Launching this new podcast with these fabulous, beautiful new women. Yay! So today, we'll just jump in. We have two guests, Chloe and Stacy. So Isla, really quickly, I just want to know, what made you to choose these two ladies as our first guests?
Oh my gosh, this is such a fun question. So Nevada Women's Fund has been around for 40 years. Mm-hmm. We have empowered over 1,800 women with scholarships in that time. And it has been an absolute treat over the last couple of years to do an alumni research project and discover who some of these fabulous women are that received scholarships decades. I won't keep saying decades decades ago, because then Stacy will glare at me.
Okay, we're editing that?
Oh my gosh!
Stacy.
No editing, Stacy. Just kidding. No, that's amazing. Like,
it is.
For you to
How
be one of the pioneers.
How she tracked me down, I will never know. That does say a lot about your record keeping at Nevada Women's Fund. Let me just say that.
Or our stalking abilities.
Yes.
Or both.
Yes.
Could be both. Both are great.
Our ability to Google really well.
Yeah, and find people.
So it's really fun to see what current scholarship recipients are doing. Really incredible research and taking on some of our world's biggest problems and solving them at the most basic of levels. And then looking at a scholarship recipient who a few years later has gone on to make such an impact in our community. And I look at Chloe and I think, where are you going to be in 25 years? And I look at Stacy and I think, what a gift you have become to our community. I mentioned it just in passing today that you've chaired some of our most, I don't want to say important because they're all important, but some of our largest nonprofits here in town, some of our most beloved nonprofits here in town. I'm thinking of the Discovery Museum. And so to be able to talk about where it started with Stacy and what it's like to be in it today with Chloe just felt like such a fun way to start this entire podcast.
I love it. I feel like whenever I talk to you or talk to any of the scholarship recipients, I could just weep because I just think it's just magical what the Nevada Women's Fund is doing to progress, education and women's everything, right? And so why don't you, Stacy, tell us how you got started in PR and marketing, and what your field is, how you got into that.
So I graduated high school in 1990 and went to school right after that into college, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And through sort of testing and trying and just discovering, I am a lifelong learner. I love education. I love learning. I fell into not-for-profit work and worked for, in graduate school, I worked for the Children's Cabinet in town. And at the Children's Cabinet is where I really discovered I loved program development. I loved public relations. I loved employee communications. I did all of those different roles for them at that time. And then after that, I said to myself, I really want a full-time job in this all the time. This is what I love to do. And so that's the career I pursued. I sort of fell into it. I joke with my marketing communications colleagues that I was the liberal arts major. I was not the J school major. I didn't go to marketing and marketing business school. I learned through experience and then continued my education to have the career that I have today.
That's amazing that you did that, because I remember being in college and not really knowing. I can relate to not knowing what you wanted to do and then finding it, right? So quick. How long were you in college before you realized this is what I want to do?
I don't know if I honestly don't know in the journey of college that I ever completely figured that out, which is true for a lot of students. Yeah. But I did discover my own strengths, and I learned a lot of skills in college that basically I was able to foster and grow in the workforce, in the professional
I love
space.
That. It was actual hands-on experience. And shout out to the Children's Cabinet and what they're doing in our community. I love them.
Yes.
And so I want to pivot a little bit to Chloe and just talk about, your experience getting into science, right?
Yeah.
I was fascinated that what you're doing. So I'm wondering, what made you decide to get into science? Was that something that you loved as a child, or
for sure?
If you could let us know that,
Yeah, I was always that kid that was like digging in the dirt.
That's what I envisioned a little bit.
Yeah. My parents were always so thrilled because I'd come in just like completely nasty at the end of the day because I'd just been digging around looking at like, the like caterpillars, the bugs, the birds. So I feel like I always sort of had that like interest, but it wasn't until I got into my bachelor's degree where I majored in biology, and as I went through that program, realized like how much I really loved it, especially in this time of climate change, like realizing that even one person, even just that little bit, can try and make a change, hopefully for the better. So that's how I ended up in ecology, is this hope as like a native Nevadan that I can hopefully help.
Hold on, I got to jump in right there. Whenever I hear native Nevadan, I heard native Nevadan and I almost jumped out of my seat. Because I, too, am a native Nevadan. Oh, Nevada Women's Fund is here to make sure that we maintain this incredible talent pool of women in our community. So now I have to ask questions.
Do it.
Yeah.
Born and raised in...
Here.
Right here in Reno.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It just makes my heart so happy that we have these incredible women right here. And... oh, gosh, I just think about what our state is going to look like in a couple of decades. Who knows, with women like Chloe who decided to stay in state, to go to our incredible university here, apply their talents right here. And probably for ecology, I mean, you could go so many places, but I think our beautiful desert, like you were just talking about. Anyways, I did not mean to interrupt.
No, I love
Northern
that.
Nevada.
Yeah,
love
gotta hype it up,
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like you tell people you live in a desert and they think, ugh, like gross. It's dry, it's cold, at least here, and it's just like not fun to be in. But I don't know, I think it has like its own little like special place, especially growing up here. Like, and a lot of our ecosystems are falling apart a little bit. So I think it's really important that, we can stay here and try and fix those if possible.
What does staying here look like for you when you graduate?
Good question.
So part of my project is I am working with indigenous groups in this area to try and like rehabilitate pinyon pine, which is a local species only found in the Great Basin, Pinus monophylla. So I'm a part of the Bi-State Tribal Natural Resources Committee. So the hope is to
No, mind blown.
Like, I don't even know what that means.
So many
It
words.
sounds amazing. Yeah.
But the hope would be to eventually, like, these groups deserve these lands and these resources, and to hopefully get like food sovereignty rights for these indigenous groups. So that is the hopeful goal in the future. There's already some amazing things going on at UNR with like Dr. Urza, and they're trying to rehabilitate some pinyon pines on Pinyon Pine Mountain, actually, over by Carson. So I'm hoping to just like join that, and hopefully we can keep working towards fighting for rights for indigenous people and for our ecosystems.
High five.
Yes. To both of you, really quickly, how did you what made you passionate about working with the indigenous people?
My mother actually growing up had like one of her best friends was Northern Paiute. So I don't know, I just like kind of connected with her quite a bit, and she unfortunately passed when I was 12.
Sorry to hear that.
But just like to see like the impact that she had with like her community, and then realizing that like I could hopefully continue to like help that community, because they do face like so many challenges, even if it's just from like an ecological perspective. So that's how.
I love that. And that's something that I've never thought about, like the ecological perspective of the challenges that they face.
Yeah.
Is not something that I know they face challenges, but like, what does that mean ecologically? So that's really interesting. We might have to have you back to talk more about that.
Love it.
But I just think it's so interesting, the dynamics and how you came to Nevada Women's Fund, and where you're at professionally with your career and your daughter. You have a daughter who is now going to college.
She's a senior in high school and about to take that leap. It's very exciting times in our house.
Who's it harder for?
Isla and I had many conversations about this.
I love it.
There is just a lot of change happening right now for our entire household, and it is a journey.
Is she your only child?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would love to hear you talk about, Stacy, you were a first generation college student.
Yes.
And the experience that you had preparing for college, and how that compares now to the experience probably your daughter is having preparing.
It's completely different. It's completely different. As a first-gen college student, I always had this sense around me that I was going to college, even though I didn't have models of folks in my family or extended family that had gone to college. I was very strong academically. I enjoyed school. I enjoyed learning in that type of environment. So college was the right next step for me, but I didn't really know how to get there. I was very lucky that I had teachers that helped to guide me, and my parents certainly pushed forward that idea that I should go to college, that I'm bound for college. For a first-gen student in the situation that I grew up in, it was that idea of get yourself to college because your life will look different. And we can continue to talk about that a little bit in today's podcast if you want, because there is this idea that for many first generation students, there's not a lot of depth to that advice. It's get to college, get to college.
Information, yeah.
But the reality is you get yourself there, and there's a lot to figure out.
You're
right?
like, what the heck?
Yes, and it's a journey.
No guide. You have to find the people that know to help you.
Exactly.
I felt that way too as a first generation student. I am curious what your parents did. What were their occupations?
So they had a few different occupations in their careers, mainly small business owners.
Okay.
And they also had worked with 4 different companies throughout their life, but they weren't in sort of professional roles that they, I think, encouraged me to pursue.
Okay.
And so that was all navigating in the dark a little bit for all of us, and then getting to college.
Yeah. That song
Figuring
came in my
out-
head. A whole new world. And you're like, I don't know what movie it is. You can see the actress who's like, on campus, like you're like, don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing.
And then you just figure it out.
You
right?
do. You just figure it out, and
As we
it
do.
was, and I'm being totally frank here, it was a really painful time. It was a painful time.
Girl, you better speak on that. Yes.
For my daughter, because my husband and I have both gone to college, we both went to graduate school. She's had a completely different experience in preparing for college. And as we saw in her that she had academic propensity, a talent for it, a desire for it, the kinds of jobs that she's shown interest in require a degree, if not more, a graduate degree. As soon as we recognized that in her, we started guiding her and helping her understand and look at the whole picture of college and see that as an opportunity that will open doors that you pursue, not as an end game, if you will. And I don't know what your experience was like, Chloe, if that was different for you when you got to college. I know you said you kind of knew what you wanted to do.
Yeah. Both of my parents had been to college. So I'm on the other side of that, where it's like my parents sort of helped me with that process. My husband is a first generation though, so it's been really interesting to like sort of see the differences. It's like I never had to think about some of the things that you have to think about, or like just things you don't know. When I thought it was just like, oh, easy, like, yeah, this is the next step. But I've sort of come to learn that that's not the case. So I think it's incredible that you can be there for your daughter to do that. Otherwise, it would just be like, wow, a lot.
And this speaks to where we're at today when I look at Stacy, Kalila, and I, all first-gen college students, as opposed to Chloe, who's a little bit younger than us, obviously, still in college. Today, for the first time, female enrollment is higher than male enrollment in college. And for the first time ever, women are graduating from college at higher rates than men. And so you see this shift between who we were and what the three of us were doing, and now Chloe and her generation. And I think that just speaks volumes and is so exciting.
It's if you ever think that it's not happening, it's happening, right? Yeah, like the magic's there, the numbers are going up, more women in college, more women graduating from college, more opportunities and that's what Nevada Women's Fund is all about. And I love it. One thing I did want to ask you, Chloe mentioned that she was inspired by her mom's friend who was Native. And I wondered, you said that you didn't necessarily have friends in your life or family to guide you. Was there anything that you can think of that you can pinpoint inspiration for wanting to go to college in your life? Aside from the fact that you loved education and loved learning.
Yeah, I mean, certainly my teachers, as I mentioned, they really helped guide me to be able to go to college. So that's not something my parents were going to be able to provide for me. I knew that's where I wanted to go. I didn't know how to get there. And they really guided me in high school and helped me apply to college, apply for scholarships, and get there. And I had a full ride scholarship to the University of Nevada, Reno. My tuition and my books were paid for. If I didn't have that opportunity, I don't know. I don't know what that would have looked like. I'm not saying I wouldn't have done it or I wouldn't have found a way, but it really opened doors for me, got me there, started me on that path, and gave me everything ultimately that I have today. It was a huge step for me and a beginning to what's been a career that I've enjoyed and loved and been able to provide for my family. And I know that education and the education I've attained is affecting my daughter and generations to come.
I love that. Can we just give a shout out to the teachers out there who are inspiring all the children and doing all the things and helping them fill out scholarship forms? It brings tears to my eyes because I have that same story of people that, my parents didn't know what the heck, right? We were just trying to survive. But I can think of those teachers who were like, you're really good at math. Like, let's sit down and talk about, let's, figure out these problems, or who would say, have you ever thought of going to college? And you're like, college, what is that? And so for you to say that it was the teachers that, inspired you to go to do that and helped you figure it out is so meaningful. So shout out to the teachers. Yes. Let's get into the scholarship. The juicy Nevada Women's Fund money stuff, right? Because that's a good segue. You're I don't know how I would have done it if I didn't get a scholarship. I assume that receiving the Nevada Women's Fund Scholarship helped, right? And helped to affect and change your life.
I just have one question, Stacy. Have you filled out a FAFSA yet?
Oh my gosh.
God. I'm triggered. I'm a little triggered at the idea of filling out a FAFSA.
A lot of issues this year, right? As we all know, so decisions aren't done. Yeah.
Has the process gotten easier?
It's easier, but
Daunting still.
You have to have a college degree to figure out how to fill out the FAFSA.
no, that is so so true. And
I remember it was yellow and it was like five-fold, right? And it was like perforated.
You're dating yourself.
I think it's all online now.
Oh, it's online. Oh my God.
yeah, it is online now. If that helps, I don't know.
I remember it was like fold, perforated. Yeah, I am dating myself. I'm not ashamed.
There have been, for those of us that had to fill out the FAFSA this year, there have been some challenges with the results being returned to colleges. So for first-timers waiting to make those decisions, we don't have those financial packages back yet. And then for folks who are continuing in college, I'm sure that has created challenges as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, typically we get those like results back in like mid-May or mid-March, and it's now like getting mid-April, and you're like, I hope I have funding for next year.
Right, and
That
so
is
for
so
listeners who don't
stressful.
know, students are waiting on this, families are waiting on this information to know if they have financial support going into the next school year.
Yeah.
Can I afford to go out of state? Can I afford to live on campus?
It makes
Can
me-
I afford a parking pass?
It makes me think of, those women who don't have teachers in their lives or don't have somebody who inspired them, don't have any help.
Yeah.
And it just makes me cry because I'm like, this is backwards and it doesn't make any sense. And the stress that they're under, think about the stress that you're under, and you have a job and can provide for your daughter, but the stress of not having anything, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Nevada Women's Fund is about. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, to help those people that they don't even know where rent is, let alone knowing how they're going to pay for school, right? And so I just think the ripple effect of, you two being involved in this and what Nevada Women's Fund does, how did the scholarship help you how did it change your life? How did it affect you?
Yeah. So I am a graduate teaching assistant. So I get funding for 10 months out of the 12-month year. So those 2 months, it can be kind of difficult to, afford anything really. Groceries.
Sure.
So the Nevada Women's Fund has made it so it's no longer a huge stress in the summer, which to afford groceries or rent or just really anything. And summer is when we do field work. So it's like you're extremely busy. You're out in the hot sun all day trying to get your research done. So it's nice not to have that stress anymore.
Because what our listeners may not know is a Nevada Women's Fund Scholarship doesn't go to the school. It goes directly to the woman. Is that what you were going to talk about when I...
Yes, for Nevada Women's Fund specifically, the scholarship I received was later as I entered graduate school. And it helped me with books that first semester. And my tip I was going to mention is that I applied for these scholarships. I got great scholarships that helped me go to undergraduate and get my bachelor's. But all along the way, I could have continued to apply. And I didn't know that. I could have applied every single year for other expenses. My tuition was paid, but there certainly was a lot of other expenses to stay in school and to get that degree. And Nevada Women's Fund helped me get through that transition between undergrad and graduate school to afford some books that semester and move into graduate school. So it was helpful. It did not provide for everything. It didn't, if it wasn't for that particular scholarship, I was at a point in my life, I would have found a way. But scholarships in general made such an impact on my life, and understanding the process a little bit better now to be able to help my daughter and help others to make school affordable and accessible to anyone who wants to pursue it.
And you're absolutely right. We're fortunate that we live in a state where many have prepaid tuition. We have the incredible Millennium Scholarship. So that gets people in the door quite often. But then to have that real college experience, which I think there's so much value in being able to, if you want, live on campus, have a food plan, be able to park within a decent distance. I'm sure. Have
Let
you
your
walked 5
shoulders
miles
down.
in the snow at the university?
Yes, for sure.
Which you do what you got to do, right? You make it happen. That's what we do. But also to be able to, what you're saying is to be able to relax into the experience without having to stress, because we all know all the endorphins and all of it, the stress, right? You can't fully immerse yourself and be in that moment. And so to be able to put your shoulders down and not have to worry about it is a huge relief. And it changes your experience.
Well, and to be able to take advantage of all the opportunities available, right? With that
There it
extra
is.
help, it makes such a difference. It's not just going to class and getting your grade and then going to the next class and going to the next class. It's an entire environment.
Holistic.
Yeah.
And that helps you grow and develop and learn and understand your interests and understand your place in this world and how you want to help others and what you want to do. Don't get me started.
The holistic approach to your life, so you can check the box and go, I got more money. I can focus on this. Oh my gosh, my shoulders are down. I like that. Because when you're not stressed out, that you see the magic of the of life, and you can
the connection.
connect to what you love. And that's the beauty of being able to give money to women and let them find the magic in your life. What do you love? What do you want to do? I think it's so important. And thank you for sharing that with us. I love that. That inspires me. But I think it's all such good information for especially young women, even in high school. Like when you said, what didn't you know? I thought, oh, that's something that we should probably put on it. I don't know if Nevada Women's Fund, I just started with you all, but I don't know if that's a questionnaire that we put out. But when you said that, as a first generation student, I think back to my college experience and I think, oh my gosh, I had so many of those what didn't you knows. And maybe we, let's ask that of the high school students, what didn't you know? And then figure out, well, this is what you do, Anyway, my wheels are turning.
And Chloe, did you get to tell us what you wish you would have known when you started this journey? Because you have a lot of education behind you at this point.
A lot.
Just been doing school for so long now. I feel like I'd also known just the plethora of information out there and resources out there. I feel like you hear things like, oh, the Millennium Scholarship, but there's so much more than that. And it took until grad school to even find the Nevada Women's Fund. So I wish that we had, I had known that there was far more than just this one thing out there.
Yes, I completely connect and relate to that.
Yeah.
What advice would you give your younger self, Stacy?
Well, it was a little bit related to where I kind of got on my soapbox a little bit about the college experience. I know we put a lot of pressure on young people right now to, what do you want to do when you grow up, and what do you want to be, and then pursue that degree, and for those who are going to college or pursuing any type of education, push that. And I know in my own experience, it was a path that was not a straight arrow by any means. And yet it was an enriching and fulfilling experience nonetheless. And I think for my younger self, quite frankly, I would give that girl a hug is what I would do, because I think she needed it. And
I love that
I
you
give
said
my
that.
daughter lots of hugs and assure her along the way. And it's really trying to be gracious with yourself about, right? You know where you want to get to in terms of what is the life you're trying to build. And you have an idea of the things that interests you, Chloe, things that interested you from a very young child. That's so exciting. And my daughter's a math and science brain as well. Oh, yay! And so she's from a very young age had this excitement about discovery and learning along that path. And as a parent, to be able to foster that and nurture that and help them pursue that is really exciting. And my advice to her is really about taking advantage of every opportunity, not just going to class and getting your grade and being so focused on the end of those 4 years or 4 years plus to get there. And what would you say, Chloe?
To my younger self?
Well, and I also want to know, what does Chloe look like 10 years from now?
Ooh. Okay, to my younger self, I would say it'll be okay. I feel like it's always pushed. You have to finish in 4 years. You have to know what you want to do. And I took 6 years. I had no idea. I mean, I genuinely had no idea.
Just like Stacy said, you have to give grace. Be gracious with yourself. So you both have reiterated that.
Yeah, I feel like you need to just realize that you do not have to be on this set 4-year path. Like, take your time.
It took me 10 years to finish college, and that's because I had to stop. I didn't have any money, so I had to stop and work full time, and then go, oh, I saved a little bit. I can go back. I can take 2 credits.
Exactly.
So, I love that is such a gift to share with people.
Yeah.
4 years, it's okay. You don't have to. My kids joke, you have your doctorate? And I'm like, that's really funny. No, I don't. But I finished.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So,
And that's amazing too.
Yes.
And you went back and you made it happen.
Because it's so easy to stop when you don't have money.
Yes.
And you go to financial aid and you go, I can't do it this semester, so I'll see you guys next semester. But it doesn't have to be 4 years, right?
No, not at all.
And so for you to say that, it took you 6 years. Bravo. It's going to be okay.
Yes.
Yes.
That would definitely be the advice I would give to my younger self. I feel like 10 years from now, ooh, man, I feel like in our society, like, especially in the past, women have not had the opportunity to pursue a lot of things that interest them, especially in the sciences. So part of the reason I went into the sciences is just to, like, build off of all these amazing women that have, like, paved this path for us to go into the sciences. So I'm hoping to be that stepping stone for, like, maybe, like, women like your daughter in the future to continue in the sciences.
You're going to break a sagebrush ceiling?
I hope.
I think you already are.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Chloe, incredible.
Oh, thank you.
My daughter's name is Chloe, and we're going to have to get coffee with you so you can meet her.
Yes, love that.
She's a little math and science brain, too. So,
Perfect. See, we'll just, I love that.
You go vibe at the coffee shop, and you can tell her all the things.
Love that.
I love that. I'm so happy to have met you today, and thank you for being our first guest on the new Nevada Women's Fun podcast.
Very special. Thank you for doing this, Carla. And thank you to Nevada Women's Fund for bringing this about and helping to share these stories that, hopefully will influence and impact others.
Yeah.
Oh. Today's podcast is called Celebrating Achievement because we really do see you as women who have achieved so much and will continue to achieve. So with you today, thank you for allowing us to celebrate your achievement.
Oh, thank you.
And Miss Isla, thank you for, harboring and being the helm of that ship right now. I'm so inspired by you, and it's an honor to co-host with you. And thank you for trusting me and letting me be a part of this incredibly inspiring fund that helps women and elevates all of us.
Should we end on a really high note with some big news?
Yes.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
Oh my gosh, I need a drink of water. What you tell us?
As of today, Nevada Women's Fund has broke a record, and we have raised and will award $500,000 in 2024.
Oh my, that's so awesome. Isla.
More of that, please.
Yeah,
More.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a good note to end on.
That is a really great news.
Fantastic news.
Thank you for being here. And thank you.
Founded in 1983, Nevada Women's Fund emerged to rectify the national disparity in funding allocated to women and women's organizations. Over the years, Nevada Women's Fund has contributed nearly $10 million in education scholarships and grants, fostering the empowerment of women across Northern Nevada. Today, Nevada Women's Fund remains dedicated to spotlighting and dismantling barriers to education and ensuring women receive the necessary support and opportunities to advance their professional careers. You can contribute to Nevada Women's Fund's mission by donating to their scholarship and grants program at nevadawomen'sfund.org or email info@nevadawomen'sfund.org to learn about more ways to get involved.